and there's a lot of marathon runners that are out there still, crushing it, but it's really hard to see people that are real springy, because it's hard to be bouncy and springy. And I think that's going to be the next phase in the evolution of performance as older athletes. And that's something so I'm doing a lot of plyometrics right now. And I think, but I mean, you are right that the carnivore diet has been uniquely beneficial for people's ability to have good, healthy feeling joints. And when you have your joints feel good, you just feel like training. When your knee hurts, you don't want to go squat. It's hard to train legs when your damn knees hurt. It's hard to do. It's hard to do back when you got freaking low back pain. So, I mean, it's, as I mean, it's something that, sometimes you just suck it up and, weak legs aren't going to make my back pain any better. So you just train anyway. But I mean, the reality is over time, if you cannot train because of whatever joint pain, it's going to catch up with you at some point. Well, I mean, so the longer you can save that off.
It's profound, and the performance doesn't seem to be waning in people who do carnivore. They just seem to love it. I mean, some people say otherwise. And again, like my thing is, as you get older, like I still box at least once a week. So I did box competitively, very poorly, by the way, but I do like to stay springy. I don't want to be pigeonholed into the bodybuilder thing, but as you get older, you really stop looking at how jacked can I be into how well can I move? How well does this weight move? And getting back to the whole insulin and sugar thing and all the responses you were talking about within the joint. What's crazy is looking at my friend Francois is he's a body, like this guy ate clean his whole life. This is a guy who was eating the chicken and sweet potatoes, who was eating the clean fats, clean. He was doing everything right. So his insulin was probably under control. And being that he lifted weights, his GLUT4s were activated. He was doing high intensity exercise. It's something beyond that. It has to be something going on because he's not the first bodybuilder who's converted to the diet who I've heard this from, which is why, every day that people keep doing this diet, the more info that comes in, the more it's just like, shit, I think we need to re-explore what's going on here. And we definitely need research. We need data because there's something beyond the insulin. It's something beyond the insulin. It's something to do with maybe it's the hypoallergenic aspect of this diet. I'm not sure because how many people have slight food allergies that cause an inflammatory response that boom, causes your joints to blow up. I mean, this is the thing. We know inflammation is Satan. Like total body systemic inflammation is so bad for you. There's something that this diet is doing that is getting rid of systemic inflammation. And I wish we could pinpoint because it's, again, we're taking, I know this is just a couple case studies, but there's a reason they do case studies, right? Like I've seen enough of these. I've seen a handful, and that's enough of these to make me think it's something beyond the clean eating. It's something beyond the insulin sensitivity. There's something more.
Well, could it possibly go ahead? I'm so sorry. Yeah. No, well, I was just wondering, could it possibly be the disparity between the two diets? Like, I mean, and Mr. Dr. Baker, you can correct me if I'm wrong on your side, but I see that like when I put somebody on like a keto or carnivore diet, that it's normally because they can't say no to sweets, so we just need to eliminate them in general. They're very addicted to them. So the disparity between as Shawn was saying earlier, like people just drinking nothing but soda all day and eating nothing but, pasta or bread all day, that's highly inflammatory. And then they go to a carnivore diet and they go from highly inflammatory to almost no inflammatory. And I think the disparity is huge. And like a lot of times when people self-report these case studies, you got to understand they're going off how they feel. They're survey basic studies, right?
And this is basically driven by, mitochondrial activation, primarily the immune system it's kind of an omega-6 rich environment. But so what I used to see as a surgeon is when I'd stick a camera in someone's knee, I do a knee scope. In a young person, the knee would look beautiful. I mean, it's this beautiful white. It looked like fresh fallen snow. It was like super white and clean and smooth. But you get in there in a 50-year-old, and it literally looks like the inside of an ashtray. It looks like somebody's been smoking in there. It's all yellow.
That'd be every joint on my body, Dr.
Well, but I mean, it's like, why was it yellow? And I didn't know. Yeah. I mean, but I mean, it turns out it's just these advanced glycation end products. So this is the major distinguishing factor between a young joint and an old joint. And so what's driving that glycation is like we talked about, hyperglycemia. It's oxidation from the lipids. But so there's studies out there. There was a nice study that was done about 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago. I think it was University of Alabama. They looked at low carb versus low fat diets. They found a low carb diets were superior for arthritic knee pain. So we know that that's happening. But also, every synovial joint in our body, so any joint that's lubricated, not most of them are, but not all of them are. So it's like our knee, our hip, our elbow, our wrist, our shoulder, has this fluid called synovial fluid, which is very, very slick. It's like the coefficient of friction in there is like ice on glass. Like if you can imagine some melting ice across glass, it's very, very slick. And these cells called fibroblast-like synoviocytes are impacted by insulin. And so, yeah, that might have been, I think that's the one there that you guys pulled up. So there's another study, which, if you look at the fibroblast synoviocyte and insulin, so high insulin levels will actually lead to the creation of inflammatory cytokines, which will then in turn damage the joint, basically contribute to arthritis. Now, so high levels of insulin can also do that. So a carnivore diet, can bring some of those things down. I think there's also other things that are going on. I think with the gut, when we see damaged gut, dysbiotic, dysfunctional gut, it leads secondary downstream to inflammatory issues. And so I think that's why a lot of people do develop or do see a relief in joint health. I mean, I experience myself. I mean, this is the reason I do this, is because I like to train hard. I like to jump and run. And as I get close to 60, I want to be able to dunk a basketball and do a backflip and sprint hard and, all these things I want to do and still be able to lift heavy.
Damn,
so that's what's that?
Dude, you're setting the bar awfully fucking high for me.
Yeah. I feel, I feel terrible right now.
I think that, but I do think that we're going to see for some people that actually get it and take care of themselves, some really high things you can do as an older individual. I mean, I think we're starting to see some of these people that do that. But I mean, you do see a lot of guys that they train their ass off, but they're destroyed. Their joints are destroyed. And so
Exactly.
you see it, so once your joints fall apart, you can't train anymore. And then that cardiovascular system that you're trying to maintain, that's going to keep, I look at it like the engine and the chassis. If the chassis falls apart, doesn't matter what kind of engine you have in there. And then in the engine, you're not going to be able to run the heart and the lungs because you can't even friggin' walk. And so you got to be able to maintain that stuff. And so if you can still run and jump and play, I know, Mark, you've been doing some sprinting recently, which I'm so glad to see that. I mean, that's so important to be able to maintain and be able to do that, as we get older, and I think it's not hard to be strong. There's plenty of strong dudes that are old. I mean, you guys know there's guys that are out there still pushing 500 pounds on the bench press in their 60s. And so that's not that hard to do.
If you enjoyed this video, you can see the entire podcast at rumble.com/evening rants. That's rumble.com/evening rants. See you there.
I'm looking for something to prime my body to reach my goals. You want to lose weight, but a lot of people just chase their tail trying to lose weight. Let me explain. You get the latest fad, you do the latest diet, you get on the latest pill, but think about it like a car. You can put the finest fuel in the car, but if the car is broken, what are you doing with yourself? You're just going to give your body this fuel, but the body itself is broken. Your body needs to operate efficiently. Your body needs your lungs, your kidney, your liver, your heart. They all need to be working optimally for your body to process the nutrients, to burn the fat, to even build the muscle. I'm looking for the best overall health and organ supplement ever created. And that's why at Ambrosia, we have something called Ambrosia Nectar. Since 2015, we've been focusing on things that other companies don't focus on. We needed people to operate efficiently with their brain. So we had Mental Jewels. We needed people to have proper fuel, Ambrosia Plant. But the product that I'm most proud of is Ambrosia Nectar. Ambrosia Nectar contains 13 natural, proven ingredients to help with all of the things that make your body run. Ambrosia Nectar is what you need, and it is the perfect supplement to prime your body for whatever your goal might be.